This is the official entrance to the DMZ. Inside, we're taken to the top of a checkpoint.
So this is North Korea right here, and if you listen, you can hear the propaganda music coming from some speaker pointed this direction. You don't usually get a chance to get this close to North Korea because there are so many, about 2 million landmines still out there in the DMZ area.
North and South Korea were unified for a millennia, up until the end of World War II. The Soviets and Americans backed rival factions that ultimately triggered another battle, the Korean War, which in 1953 ended in stalemate, an uneasy armistice. This border, a no man's land along the 38th parallel. This cluster of blue UN buildings between the two countries is called the Peace Village.
Okay, here we are right on this, really the 38th parallel. This is the border between the North and the South. The officials marched across this way, met those from the South to figure out exactly how they would participate in the Olympics here in South Korea. These buildings, as you're looking, this is the northern side. Several times up there on the balcony, I've stood there with the soldiers from North Korea.
This place is full of North Korean soldiers, South Korean soldiers, American soldiers, and UN soldiers. Everyone is watching each other. In November, there was a daring defection of a North Korean soldier right here, seen in this video, crashing his car and then running for the South Korean border. His own comrades shooting at him multiple times. South Korean soldiers drag him over the border to safety. The video went viral because the whole world has been watching the Korean peninsula very closely in the last few months.
Next, from the Cold War to the miracle on the ice, we will look at the way the Koreans, the Soviets, and the Americans have used the games to score serious points for decades.
Nations have been using the Olympics to further their political agendas for decades. Before these Winter Games, there was worry that North Korea might fire off another nuclear test this week to disrupt them. North Korea's participation has eased those fears, and so the small nation has maneuvered into the international spotlight with two things it has invested in heavily: its nuclear weapons and its sports programs. What Kim Jong-un refers to as the hot wind of sports blowing through Korea isn't just about Dennis Rodman dropping in. North Korea's supreme leader is obsessed with sports and has made massive investments since taking power in 2011 to step up his game. Refurbishing palatial stadiums, taekwondo facilities, and this luxury ski resort. In 2017, I made an unplanned visit there.
We put in all sorts of requests to visit out here, the launch locations where the missiles are being launched. We asked if we can see those brand new rocket engines. We're not getting that, but they said they're going to take us skiing.
On the road deep into the countryside, we drive by workers walking in formation and arrive as promised at North Korea's brand new ski mountain with all the trappings of a resort.
There's any other guests here, do you think, or we're the only ones?
Except it is eerily empty. The few people on the slopes skiing to patriotic music.
It's gorgeous out here, I have to say. Not a bad place.
It's also the place where, this month, North and South Korean skiers trained together at the invitation of Kim Jong-un. A chance for the supreme leader to shine the Olympic spotlight on his multi-million-dollar investment. It's all part of Kim Jong-un's even more ambitious goal to transform the North into a sports superpower.
Sports are an effective propaganda tool. That's why repressive governments have found a way over the years to emphasize sports, even as other things in their societies are crumbling.
In open letters to athletes, Kim Jong-un has urged adopting guerrilla-style tactics, ordering them to sweat more in training to bring glory to the country.
Kim Jong-un talked about how bringing home gold medals was the best way to show oneself to be a national hero, a patriot, a great North Korean.
Was it difficult to get the kids to go off the really high board?
The very first time I went in 2005 to North Korea, I saw these young athletes, these kids were divers that have been doing this hours and hours every day for their life ever since they were 2 years old.
There's nothing else they're going to do except just dive hour after hour after hour. I mean, it's a direct order by the regime.
Athletes like those coming to the Olympics at Pyeongchang have a privileged place in North Korean society. They're among the few allowed to travel out of the country, but they are closely watched.
The idea of North Korean athletes defecting is certainly something that people have talked about. For example, as I'm watching the figure skaters practice and I see them with all of their handlers, and it's quite a group of people. I mean, American figure skaters, Canadian skaters, Russian skaters, they don't have that many people around them. And you say to yourself, is it because they think they might try to defect? So I think that has to be in our minds.
But no North Korean athletes have ever defected at the Olympics.
I think it's going to be very hard for athletes to defect, and there will be grave consequences to his or her family members, 3 generations of family members. They'll be either sent to political prison camp or executed.
Being an athlete in North Korea is a perilous profession. Most have likely heard stories like the one former North Korean judo champ Lee Chung-soo told us when we met up with him this week in Seoul.
90년 북경 아시안 게임 때 한국한테 줬다는 거로 해가지고 2등하고 갔었어요 그때. 정신 교육을 시킨다는 거예요.
When he was released from the coal mines to compete again, he defected at the World Judo Championships in Barcelona.
먼저 잡아야 돼. 손을 먼저 나가 잡아야지. 잡힌 다음에 잡히기 힘들어. 아버지 어머니는 탄광 갔고 형은 이혼하고 골목장으로 가가지고 죽었대요.
But he ended up there because you defected?
다 그렇게 알았어요.
Do you think about that very much?
네. 그래서 항상 마음속에 복수하는 마음으로 살아요. 그냥.